Well, that was fun.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our spiritual sojourn. So happy you could join us today. Hi, Tom.
Hi, Lori.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. The energies lately have been kicking my butt a lot. I think for a lot of us, if you're tuned in to anything like this, the full supermoon that just happened and is still happening, I think, certainly has had an impact on a lot of us, and just the energy shifts that are continuing to occur. My guides wanted to step in today and talk about some things that we're all facing and just help people to remember that this is the year of really shedding, letting go everything that no longer serves. So let me have them step in and kind of begin to share that information again. We are pleased to have this opportunity to speak with all of you, to remind you of what is happening, to help perhaps offer some explanation so that you begin to understand what is occurring with each of you individually. It is true that this is the year for shedding, for letting go of all that no longer serves, whether that be emotional, psychological, physical, checking around to let go of anything that is no longer serving you. For this is the time for that to occur. There are many shifts that many of you are aware of that are occurring on your planet and with human beings. Energies are shifting. Individuals are having moments where they are shifting into the other dimension and then shifting back again. Many of you, including this channel, is feeling these shifts and changes in physical ways. So some of you may be noticing that you're not sleeping well, having sleep disturbance. Many are finding that they are also having many physical symptoms, body aches, flu-like symptoms at times, headaches, um, stomach upset, just feeling not quite themselves. And this is all part of the third dimensional body reacting to the shifting energies. And what is happening is anything that is still lingering in the unconscious for you that you have perhaps not looked at or still needs to be having some releasing is now being literally squeezed to the top, bumbling up into your consciousness now, so that you may be thinking about things that you thought you had resolved before that are now coming up, perhaps even it seems from years ago. It may be grief, anger, fear, whatever is bubbling up within you at any moment. It is your opportunity to pay attention and to begin to look at what this is and sit with it, asking your team, your guides, to come in and support you in releasing whatever needs to be released. This is the time to begin that cleansing, if you will, for that will help to keep you in alignment, to help the energies that are coming through you to move through you and help you to continue to increase your frequencies and vibrations. It will help you to clear those old memories, which then also clear behavior that you no longer see as supporting you, see as serving you in the highest and best good. So we encourage you to take those moments to pay attention, to not keep pushing it back down, for it will make this process that much more difficult. Know that everyone is being given the opportunity with all of these energy shifts coming through to let go of all that needs to be let go of and to shift into that next higher dimension. Many of you are also aware of the object that is moving through your sky, 3-eye atlas. Understand that this is being driven by an intelligence that is connected to interdimensional beings and certainly comes from an interdimensional place. And it is also providing energy and shifts and opportunities for all of you to be awakened, to have different pieces of information to come online, as it were. Information within DNA that each of you carries is being activated by the passing of this vehicle. So that, again, this is an opportunity in a sense to release what no longer serves and to allow this increase of information that you will be able to use moving forward. So know that you are not losing your minds, although we know as humans it can feel that way. You are not doing anything wrong, and that much of what you are feeling currently, just as this one would say, discombobulated, not oriented at times, is part of this process. So we encourage you to be gentle with yourself, to accept what is happening, to accept what is releasing, and to allow for a flow. Do not resist, for in the resisting, it will only make it more difficult for you physically and emotionally to move through this. Know that we support you. We are always here, watching over, supporting you. Call on us whenever you are needing that support. And trust that this all has purpose and is all bringing you to that next higher dimension that humans are being moved toward, and that it is time for this shift to occur. Know that Earth itself is also going through these growing pains. So be patient. Stay in alignment with your soul and higher selves, with Source. Communicate with us on a regular basis. And trust everything is unfolding in exactly the way that it needs to be.
That's a lot. There's a little bit to unpack there.
Yeah, that was a lot. Yes, and absolutely. It's exactly what I've been feeling for the last, I don't know how long, couple weeks for sure, but for sure this week has been a challenge in many ways.
For those that are out there having trouble sleeping, you're not the only ones. Seems like
Yeah.
everyone I speak with is having trouble sleeping, and it's a time period. It will pass. I have a question for you, Lori.
Yeah.
In your experience, we've all heard the phrase many times, release that which is no longer serving you. And for someone who's hearing that for the first time, what would that be? What would some examples of that be?
I know for me, it has been about fear. It's been about however fear shows up for me. Let's take that fear of lack, of not having enough. And for some people, that's very real. They don't have enough money to pay your bills, perhaps, to buy food. That's a very real thing that we deal with as human beings. And when that surfaces for me, I sit with that. It's my opportunity to look at what's the underlying fear. Where does that start? Where was the origin of that? And many times when I do that work, I will see it and realize it's not mine, actually. It may be ancestral. It may be that I come from, and this is true, I come from a long line of folks who never had enough and believed that they were never going to have enough, that somehow they held on to this fear of lack and then created lack in their lives because of that.
Yep.
And so I can see that lineage of it, and I notice it, and it's like, oh, okay, that's something I'm continuing to live out. So then what I will do is sit with that fear and look at it, talk with it, thank it for whatever service it has done, and then release it. Ask my guides, the angels, to come in and help me to integrate whatever might be useful, but basically to let go of the fear so that it won't block the flow of abundance coming to me.
Mhm.
And when I do that, things do flow and things do come that I need in the moment. That's the other thing, is letting go of that need to be in control
Yeah.
and in charge, and how that flow will look and when it will come and how it will come. And that's really hard. And so I look at those fear around being out of control, somehow not knowing, what I need to do next. Releasing that then helps me stay in that flow of trust.
Yes. So you identified something that was no longer serving you, and then you worked through it. But
Mhm.
how can people have a better way? Maybe they're not as experienced as you are in identifying. How do you know that that's one of the things that's no longer serving you?
For me, I have to pay attention to my reactions to things around me, and my how am I feeling energetic. Like, so for me, if I keep bumping up against a fear of one sort or another, I pay attention to how am I feeling. Does my stomach hurt? Am I feeling frustrated by everything? Is just everything in the moment getting on my nerves? That sort of thing. Just paying attention. How am I feeling? And if it's happening over and over and over again on a regular basis, and I'm just kind of grumpy all the time, which of course doesn't happen very often.
Does it?
It actually does. But
Does it?
anyway, um, then I know I need to take a look at something. I know it's fear. I don't sometimes don't even know what the fear is, but I know I'm bumping up, I'm being resisting, oppositional to something. Then I know it's a fear that I need to sit with. So I will sit in a meditation and ask whatever this fear is to please come forward. Sometimes I ask my guides to help. I usually picture it as little kid parts of myself at different ages sometimes that are holding on to specific fear about specific things. Have them talk about that, what the fear is telling them, how it's protecting them, and then have them set the fear down and see how they feel. So once these little parts of me kind of identify this fear and they put it in a big pile away from them, they can see that they feel so much better without it. And so then once everybody's had their say, we let that fear go. I ask the angels to move it into the light, into the divine light of love, and let it go so that those kids then can reintegrate with me with the knowledge they have, but without the fear, and allow that integration so that I have access to the knowledge they have, and we can all work together. And sometimes it's different depending on what the fear is about. Um, you can do this on your own through a meditation. You can also seek out someone to help support you through it if you need to do that as well.
Mhm. Some people have legitimate fears,
Absolutely. Well,
and
say more.
um, they are facing a crisis that's very real, and the fear that surrounds that crisis could be a health, could be financial, whatever it is. It's real. It's not just something that has developed inside you as an emotion. How, how do you release something that's so real that you can't even stop thinking about it?
Well,
That's a tough one because at
Well,
at
when
points we
something
open.
is, so when a fear is based in what is actually happening, like if you say you are facing a health issue that needs to be resolved, someone's standing in front of you with a gun pointed at you, that fear is real and definitely requires some action to help you move through that. And to it's the fear is not always bad. A lot of times it's telling us, pay attention, get safe, you know, go do something that you need to do to get safe again. So we need to pay attention to that. Much of the fear that I'm talking about is fear that really has no basis in our everyday, like what we would consider reality, if you will.
Mhm.
So my life isn't being threatened. It's not that I'm, destitute by any means. If it's about finances, then that's something that's within me that I have lived with and maybe pulled through different lifetimes and ancestrally that I can release. When it's something real, then you have to take steps, action steps to help clear that up. So if you're having a health issue, you probably don't need to go see your doctor or go to the emergency room. If you're in that financial place of, oh my God, we're around the edge of like being kicked out of our apartment, again, that's that to me would be what I would consider a real problem. And fear is appropriate. It's warning you, do something now so you can have a place to live. Then it's taking those steps to find those resources.
Yeah.
So there's a difference between fear telling us, okay, this is potential danger. Here are some steps you need to take. And the fears most of us live with that really have no basis in our reality every day. It's things that we've just either brought in, carried over from family, whatever it is. And sometimes they're buried so deep, we don't even know. But our behavior reflects it. Because remember, all of our behavior comes from our unconscious. And so where that belief is what drives us in our life and helps us make decisions, and our behavior reflects that.
Makes sense. So let me recap a little bit of that. If it's something that's a very real fear, it requires action. Maybe that's an opportunity to get guidance for that action, and that's a separate category. This one are maybe the irrational or perceived fears. And
Mhm.
sometimes you feel something hanging over your head. When I do that, I think about what were the last few things that were running through my mind that probably turned that switch on so that I'm feeling that irrational anxiety.
Mhm.
And if you can identify it, and then maybe that's something you can take action, or maybe you realize, I already dealt with that and this is just residual, or there's nothing I can do about that and I just need to accept it. But if you can go back a few minutes to what brought that irrational fear forward, then you can at least do something to mitigate it a little bit. So that's how I think of it. Those are things that don't serve you. That makes much more sense for me.
And you brought up a good point. It's like if we can notice our behavior or how we're feeling in that moment, that is how you can backtrack to what's that underlying feeling, that unconscious piece that we're carrying around that may have nothing to do with our current situation or what we're involved in right now. And then as you begin to look at that, maybe the fear, let's say about finances, was real several thousand years ago, or even 200 years ago, or 100 years ago. And it's something, though, that then somehow continued to follow through your ancestors and came to you, even if it's not a real fear, if you will, but it's something you've picked up and carried then for the family moving forward. So if you can trace it back, that allows you to sort out what's real, what isn't, and then be able to release what needs to be released.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Sometimes the things that are just causing you anxiety, when you go back and backtrack, you go, oh, that is just nothing. Why am I worried about that? And so
Right.
or some of the other things we discussed.
Right.
So that's all good advice.
But just to be clear, I mean, there are concrete situations where fear is telling you that you need to do something to keep yourself safe and to do something to protect yourself. And that's legit. And that's what requires very specific steps in the third dimension to help take care of those needs.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because fear isn't necessarily all bad. It's like, if I touch my hand to a hot stove and I burn it, then I'm going to have a little fear around putting my hand on the stove again, because fear is telling me, oh, we don't want to do that again. So it warns us, how to stay safe too. But so many of what we deal with really don't have that purpose.
Right. Life's going a million miles an hour, and those things stack up when you don't even realize they're there.
Right, exactly. And the point being that we're in a time period with the energy shifting, with all the just intensity of energy flowing through us and around us, is that it's all bubbling to the surface. And then we have a choice to pay attention to it, sort it through, decide, is that something I need to take a look at? Is it something I can ignore? And deal with it in some way to release it. So generally, everything that needs to be released is coming up. You may suddenly start feeling grief that you thought you had dealt with 20 years ago, and suddenly grief is bubbling up again.
Mm-hmm.
Allowing yourself to sit with that grief, see what it is, why is it still there, what's it trying to tell you, and then really moving through it again and releasing it. So anything could be bubbling up.
Yeah. And this is all easier said than done. This is a thing that even people that do this regularly don't find it easy to do.
It
So,
is not. It's doable, and you have lots of support around you from your guides, from your entire team. Um, and then there are human beings also available that could also support you. So it's our responsibility to take the steps to pay attention, let it come into our consciousness, and then take the steps to help shift it.
all good. Okay, I think that's a great message. And I think if we can, if everybody can just take that one little piece of it away about releasing something that's bothering you, we'll all be in a better place. Is there
Yes.
anything else you would like to add to that before we close down for the day?
I don't think so. I think that giving yourself the time and space to do this work and not judging yourself that you're somehow not doing it right or correctly or good enough. If you're taking the time to tune in, to be aware of it, to notice it, that's enough. That's a start. And then you just progress from there.
Mhm.
So don't judge yourself. Don't get into that loop. Just allow yourself to notice it and do what feels right for you in that moment.
Mhm. If you think you're not doing it right, you probably are actually doing it right. Feel free to leave us a comment and or send us an email and we'll help you through that. It can be a difficult thing.
Yes,
So, all right.
absolutely.
Well, thank you, Lori. That's a really wonderful message and some good suggestions there. If this has helped you, please give us a like or a share and send it to someone who may need this information. That would be helpful to us as well. If you have a question or a comment, you can put them in the comment section below, and we will be glad to follow up and answer your questions. And if you have a whole new topic that interests you related to the metaphysical world, we would be glad to address that too if we can. And last and certainly not least, if you'd like to get a hold of Lori or Tom, you can do that at ourspiritualsojourn@gmail.com. And with that, thanks everyone.
Well, that was fun.